Jesus, when he was with his disciples on the Mount of Olives, he received the following question from them: "What sign will there be for your coming and the end of the age?" Then the Master listed several indications of his return to earth. Certain signs were fulfilled initially in Jerusalem and functioned as an illustrative model of final events. There are, however, other signs that are being realized now in our days. Every day, through newspapers, radio, and television, we are faced with countless occurrences. Various changes, earthquakes, disunities, abandoned children, diseases, hunger. But what does the Bible say about these events? Before we start, I want to ask you to leave your like, subscribe to my channel, and activate the bell to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. I've been producing new content with prayers and messages of faith to help you walk with God. If you are a real believer, hit the subscribe button now to spread the gospel. Let's divide the analysis of the signals that precede its return into 3 segments. First, signals from the social world. Then the signs in the natural world. And finally, the signs in the religious world. The signs of the social world are hallucinated in Matthew 24, verses 6, 7, and 10, where Jesus prophesied that before his return, the world would be at wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, against kingdom, against kingdom, betrayal and hatred among people. The second letter of Timothy, chapter 3, verse 15, informs us about difficult times, unemployment, hunger, self-centered people, covetous people, blaspheming God, rebellious children, peace, men without dominion. These signs in the social world are the work of Satan and not God. In the second part of our study, we discuss signals in the natural world. Matthew 24, verses 7 and 29 address signs that are occurring and that have already happened. On May 19, 1780, this day became known as Dark Day in the eastern United States. The darkness was so thick that the lamps were lit at noon. Despite being full, the moon refused to light up. Science has not been successful in justifying this supernatural fact. However, the Bible presents it as one of the signs that precede the coming of Christ. On November 13, 1833, there was a magnificent shower of stars, never seen before. These signs have already happened, but before the return of Jesus, they will reappear with greater intensity. Signs in the natural world, such as earthquakes, floods, and major calamities that affect billions of people, indicate that Satan is at work, even in nature. We discussed in the third part of our study about the signs in the religious world. Matthew 24:11 refers to the rise of false religions. In the world, there are more than 35,000 Christian religions. Jesus also stated that before his return, false Christs and false prophets would arise. Religious leaders are driven by ambition and end up using religion, the Bible, miracles, and the name of God to exploit people. Another sign in the religious world is found in Matthew 24:14, which presents the sign of God indicating that the end really is near. This sign is the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom throughout the whole world. The Apostle Paul tells us in Galatians 1:6 about another gospel that appears to be biblical, but is not. This gospel is Satan's false gospel. What should we do to not be deceived by so many religions? In 1 John 4:1 we find the answer. The Bible directs us to prove whether spirits come from God or not. Those who want to do God's will must compare what the Bible says with what others teach. For God, according to Matthew 7:15, warns that deceit appears in appearance of truth. Paul claims that it is not surprising, for Satan transforms himself into an angel of light. It is not much then that their own ministers become ministers of justice, and his end will be according to his works, according to the second book of Corinthians 11:14-15. Satan has the power to charm people, misrepresent himself, and distort the truth. His methods of deception, according to Matthew, are signs and healings. According to the Bible, we are living in the last days, and Satan, the devil, wants to lead us to iniquity and lead us astray from the truths. In this great conflict that started in heaven, passed through Eden, and has now reached you, who will win in your heart? We see that the signs predicted by Christ are all being fulfilled, indicating that soon all the evil in the universe will come to an end. What is missing for Jesus to return? First, the true gospel needs to be taken to all the world. Second, Jesus is giving more opportunities every day. He is patient and awaits a decision from each one of us on the side of the truth. Matthew 24:7-29 mentions three great signs in the natural world that indicate the nearness of Jesus' return. These signs are earthquakes, darkening of the sun and moon. Furthermore, the Bible also mentions that God can use natural means to serve spiritual purposes, as exemplified by the flood in the book of Genesis. But these signs are the beginning of the birth pangs, indicating that other events will still occur before the second coming of Jesus. Persecution of Jesus' disciples will increase, but the gospel will be preached to all nations, and whoever remains faithful to the end will be saved. Matthew 24:15-21 mentions the abomination of desolation, usually interpreted as a time of desolation in Jerusalem, which will trigger a great tribulation. Matthew 24:20-22 tells us about false prophets and false prophets performing great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible. Matthew 24:29 describes cosmic signs after this tribulation. The sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly powers will be shaken. These are the natural signs completed before the second coming of Jesus. He gave these signs to his disciples so they could recognize the nearness of his second coming and the end of time. Remember the words of Jesus. Watch therefore, for you do not know what day your Lord is coming. Matthew 24:42. May our focus always be on following Christ and living according to his teachings. If you enjoyed this message, share it with friends and family. God bless you.